How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brown Logan, and today I bring you a very interesting video, an interview that Hillary Clinton did on CBS Sunday morning. I think that was yesterday on Sunday, September the 10th of 2017. Very interesting. Much of the interview I pretty much already knew, but some things she said were just really weird and out there. And there were other things she said that pretty much confirmed what I already knew about her to begin with. But whatever the case may be, what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and roll that clip. I'm going to watch it right along with you, and I'm going to pause it at certain key points to give my 2 cents on what she said, to elaborate on a point she made, or to make a point that she did not make that would make the whole situation make more sense and in proper context. So without further ado, go ahead and roll it.
This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for.
Who is we? It's most certainly the outcome I wanted. I wanted you to lose.
And I'm sorry that we did not win this election.
Don't be sorry.
For the values we share and the vision we hold for our country.
Hillary Rodham Clinton delivering her concession speech the day after losing last year's presidential election. She looks back on her campaign in a new book out this week, What Happened, published by Simon & Schuster, a CBS company.
That's important to understand that it's a CBS company because they have a financial interest in her book doing well. When I say they, I mean CBS, where she's doing the interview right now, and also Simon & Schuster, who are like, one and the same.
On Friday, I sat down for a talk with Mrs. Clinton at her suburban home outside New York City. So I'm wondering, how are you?
I think I am good, but that doesn't mean that I am complacent or resolved about what happened.
You got to get over it. Look, you lost. It's been months now. It's almost a year, in 2 months. So it would have been a year since you actually lost the election. Get over it.
It still is very painful. It hurts a lot.
Hillary Rodham Clinton has spent the last 10 months trying to figure out why she isn't president of the United States.
Can we talk about Election Day? Mm-hmm. Did you have any clue what the outcome of that day would be?
No.
I did.
As the polls closed, Clinton supporters gathered in a New York City convention center, expecting to see history being made. But as the returns came in, the celebratory mood began to fade.
Those tears that night, I remember watching that live, and shout out to you if you were there with me watching this live, the election coverage that night last year. Oh man, the tears from the liberals, it was so beautiful. It was like just nourishment through electronic means. I loved it.
I just kind of went in the bedroom, laid down on the bed, just thought, okay, I just have to wait this out. But then midnight, I decided, well, looks like it's not going to work.
After midnight, she called Donald Trump, the president-elect. And then she called the White House.
It's weird how they don't say that she called Barack Obama, because I remember when that happened, it was like this whole story going around talking about she called Obama to apologize for losing for the Democrats. So it's interesting they didn't put that right here in this. Maybe that's in the book, maybe it's not, but I doubt it. Let's keep moving.
You called the president.
I did. I felt like I had let everybody down.
Morning came, and the nation was waiting to hear from her.
I remember that because it was like, okay, where's the concession speech? I remember when it happened and nobody saw from her. They thought she was pretty much in the bed because it was real late when the actual, the results were finally in. It was probably like 3, 4 in the morning. She probably was in the bed sleeping. That's why she didn't come out and give a concession speech or whatever it is.
I had not drafted a concession speech. I've been working on a victory speech.
I mean, how hard is it for you to read something that somebody else draws up for you? It ain't like you're going to be out here writing speeches, really. I mean, come on, let's be real.
Our best days are still ahead of us.
Agreed. Without you, they're much better.
And then on what she thought would be her first day as president-elect, Hillary and Bill Clinton headed back home to Chappaqua, New York.
I just felt this enormous letdown, this kind of loss of feeling and direction and sadness. And, Bill just kept saying, that was a terrific speech, trying to just kind of bolster me a little bit. off I went into a frenzy of closet cleaning and long walks in the woods and playing with my dogs and yoga, alternate nostril breathing, which I highly recommend.
Now, in your closet, was there any emails? Was there any Blackberries? I mean, what's going on? When you say that you're doing some cleaning, some spring cleaning, what are you really cleaning? I'm not really sure. Let's keep going.
Trying to calm myself down and, my share of Chardonnay. It was a
drinking, huh? That's going to be the answer to your problems. Getting drunk. Okay, old lady.
very hard transition. I really struggled. I couldn't feel. I couldn't think. I was just gobsmacked, wiped out.
Okay, gobsmacked. What exactly is that, gobsmacked? I mean, that's a pretty good band back in the early 2000s.
Weeks passed, but she couldn't remain in seclusion forever.
You know, after the first of the year, I had a big decision to make. Was I going to go to the inauguration?
Well, defeated candidates don't necessarily show up.
No.
But you're a former first lady.
But I'm a former first lady, and former presidents and first ladies show up. It's part of the demonstration of the continuity of our government. And so there I was on the platform.
Eating crow.
You know, feeling like an out-of-body experience. And then his speech, which was a cry from the white nationalist gut.
Boy, I mean, the speech was a great speech about America coming back to how it's supposed to be. You know, the whole white nationalist thing, you're still trying to work for the opposition. You're trying to be part of the, air quotes, resistance still. That's all that is. That's a talking point from their playbook that you're trying to do. And when in this interview, you're probably going to do it in the book as well. It's all part of the big game.
This American carnage stops.
What an opportunity to say, okay, I'm proud of my supporters, but I'm the president of all Americans. That's not what we heard at all.
That's what I heard.
Clinton had been so sure she'd be the one giving that inaugural speech.
You specifically bought this house for a reason.
I did.
And this was to be?
Well, I know a lot about what it takes to move a president, and I thought I was going to win.
The Clintons had acquired the house next door to accommodate White House staff and security during a second Clinton administration.
Must be nice to have all that money. You can just buy a house. It's like, okay, let's get a house, like a guest house. I think it costs $1.7 million for a guest house. How do you get that rich from being a politician? You tell me.
And doesn't it kind of haunt you?
No, I'm very happy we did it.
At a dining room table in that house, she wrote about what happened.
I couldn't get the job done, and I'll have to live with that for the rest of my life.
So what did happen? Hillary Clinton was supposed to make history as the first woman president of the United States.
I started the campaign knowing that I would have to work extra hard to make women and men feel comfortable with the idea of a woman president. It doesn't fit into the stereotypes we all carry around in our head.
Well, what you got to do is work hard to become a good candidate. You were a bad candidate, regardless of the whole female thing. You know, I was hearing that throughout the election, too. People were like, oh, well, you didn't vote for her because she's a woman. Well, some of those same people that you say are sexist, air quote sexist, were supportive of Marine Le Pen over there in France. See, it ain't about your gender or whatever. It's about, can you go in there and do a good job? Are you going to be a good candidate? Are you a good person? Do you have any kind of skeletons in your closet? That's the most important thing that we're worried about. We're not worried about your gender.
And a lot of the sexism and the misogyny was in service of these attitudes. Like, you know, we really don't want a woman commander-in-chief.
I will be the greatest jobs president that God ever created. I tell you that.
Her opponent? Real estate billionaire and reality TV star Donald Trump.
You're fired.
A political novice who had previously defeated 16 GOP primary challengers.
That's right.
We will make America
great again.
He was quite successful in referencing a nostalgia that would give hope, comfort, settle grievances for millions of people who were upset about gains that were made by others.
What you're saying is millions of white people.
Millions of white people.
A word, millions of white folks. Well, I'm black. Obviously, you can see me, you can hear me. I'm black. So, do I count in the millions of white people? Like, come on. Like, what do you mean? And what gains by others are you talking about? Are you talking about black folks who lost under Barack Obama? Are you talking about Americans in general who lost under Barack Obama? Were you talking about 23 million on food stamps before Obama came into office and like 46 when he left? What gains are you talking about, Miss Clinton? I don't really understand what you mean.
Yeah, millions of white people.
And then the Russians. American intelligence began picking up signals that Moscow was attempting to influence the election in Trump's favor, both by hacking into Democratic National Committee emails and by spreading false information online.
The forces that were at work in 2016 were unlike anything that I've ever seen or read about. It was a perfect storm.
I should have used 2 emails.
But there were serious self-inflicted wounds, too.
That's right. I'm surprised I actually talked about her self-inflicted wounds, talking about the things that she did. You know, the Russia stuff, that's nothing compared to what she did on her own with the whole email kerfuffle and the NGPVAN, the DNC, all kind of stuff. Stuff going back to Nixon days. I mean, Hillary Clinton was just a bad candidate. That's what that is.
Were there things that had you not, but for that, I might be the president?
Oh, I think the most important of the mistakes I made was using personal email.
I never sent or received any classified material.
A stream of explanations for her decision to use a private email server while she was Secretary of State never satisfied critics or the press.
I've said it before, I'll say it again, that was my responsibility. It was presented in such a negative way, and I never could get out from under it. And
I mean, what you mean presented in a negative way? It was negative. You're using private email to conduct official business. Like, what do you mean presented in a negative way? How can you present that in a positive way? It doesn't make any sense.
And it never stopped.
Not even after the director of the FBI, James Comey, cleared her of any criminal charges.
We cannot find a case that would support bringing criminal charges on these facts.
While adding a postscript that stuck.
There is evidence that they were extremely careless in their handling of very sensitive, highly classified information.
I don't know quite what audience he was playing to, other than maybe some, right-wing commentators, right-wing members of Congress, whatever.
What you mean right wing? Like what he said about the improprieties and stuff like that was true. Like, what do you mean right? What does right wing got to do with it? He told the truth about what you were doing. Now, unfortunately, he was not able to really go to the next level and lock you up or anything like that. That's kind of unfortunate. But at the end of the day, what he said was true.
The email investigation appeared to be over until late October.
Any reaction to the FBI investigation?
With early voting already underway in some states, traces of Clinton's emails were discovered on a home computer of the estranged husband of her close aide, Huma Abedin. Anthony Weiner was the former congressman who was being investigated in a sexting scandal.
See, Anthony Weiner was a nut. I mean, everybody knows that he was a nut. So why would you be trusting this lady, Huma Abedin, who's married to this guy? He's been a nut for a long time, been in the news, sexing and stuff, shirt off, all kinds of 15-year-old girls. Why would you trust her to be in the same house with him? Okay, if there's an electronic device, it's going to be compromised. And if you send her email, it's going to easily be picked up by other people, or it might get caught up in the FBI sting. What are you thinking about? See, that's not smart. If you're trying to be in control of a country, why would I vote for you when you're doing stuff like that? It doesn't make any sense. Let's keep going, though.
11 days before the election.
11 days before the election, and it raised the specter that somehow the investigation was being reopened. It just stopped my momentum. Now, remember this too, Jane. At the same time he does that about a closed investigation, there's an open investigation into the Trump campaign and their connections with Russia. You never say a word about it. And when
man, please, like, that's all that was talked about on the mainstream media. Russia. I mean, they're still talking about Russia to this day. That horse got beat to death, brought back to life, and beat to death again. That's all they were talking about. What you mean they weren't talking about that? Come on, be for real.
asked later, he goes, well, it was too close to the election. Now, help me make sense of that. I can't understand it.
No new improprieties were discovered, But Clinton believes Comey's 11th hour intrusion cost her the election. And then there was the harm she believes was done by Bernie Sanders.
She got some nerve. Her and W. Wasserman Schultz, who used to be the head of the DNC, were trying to conspire against him to get him out of there. I did a video about that in 2015, at the end of 2015, about NGPVAN, how they got him out of this system that has voter information in it. He was not able to get access to it. They, and I say they, I mean Hillary and her bestie, W. Wasserman Schultz, locked him out. And there was some stuff going on in the primaries. They tried to railroad him. It wasn't the other way around.
Her fiery populist primary opponent.
She has given speeches on Wall Street.
She writes, his attacks caused lasting damage, making it harder to unify progressives in the general election and paving the way for Trump's crooked Hillary campaign.
Oh, she's crooked, folks. She's crooked as a $3 bill.
But Hillary Clinton looks inward, too, acknowledging a tone that didn't fit the political landscape of 2016.
I understood that there were many Americans who, because of the financial crash, there was anger and there was resentment. I knew that. But I believed that it was my responsibility to try to offer answers to it, not to fan it.
What are you talking about? You're not making any sense. Like, I hear a lot of words, but you're not really making, like, what kind of answers do you have? What, like tax and spend? Like, what are your answers? I'm not really sure. I don't know what's going on with your commentary here.
I think, Jane, that it was a mistake because a lot of people didn't want to hear my plans. They wanted me to share their anger. And I should have done a better job of demonstrating I get it.
There were some memorable verbal gaffes, too.
You could put half of Trump supporters into what I call the basket of deplorables.
Yeah, that right there. I mean, we took that and ran with it. When I say we, I mean those of us on the right. We took that and ran with it, the whole deplorables thing. I mean, that was crazy. How you going to just, like, if you're trying to, so you have to understand, you're trying to get all Americans to vote for you, right? So how you just going to label people that support Trump as basket of deplorables? Because at that point, the voting hadn't happened yet. So you may get somebody to flip to your side in the 0 hour, but when you do that, it pretty much just alienates them and say, oh, okay, I'm a deplorable. That's how you feel? All right, so not voting for you, I'm voting for Trump.
Why do you think that word deplorable had been circulating in your mind?
Well, I thought Trump was behaving in a deplorable manner. I thought a lot of his appeals to voters were deplorable. I thought his behavior, as we saw on the Access Hollywood tape, was deplorable. And there were a large number of people who didn't care. It did not matter to them. And he turned out to be a very effective reality TV star in our presidential campaign.
When you said basket of deplorables,
Yep.
you energized.
No, but they were already energized.
But you offended some people who didn't personally feel deplorable at all.
I don't buy that. I don't buy that.
See, she just basically doubled down on it. She was saying that, well, Trump was deplorable and people didn't care, so they were deplorable. She's basically saying, you know what, if you weren't really like outraged where I was outraged by the Access Hollywood tape and stuff like that, then you're a deplorable. So she's basically saying what I said, yeah, I stand on it, I'll say it again. And what? But see, that whole attitude is part of the reason why she lost, because you can't just offend people like that if you're trying to get their vote. I mean, come on.
I'm sorry I gave him a political gift of any kind.
That was a gift.
But I don't think that was determinative.
And when you're a star, they let you do it. You can do anything.
Whatever you want.
Grab them by the you can do anything.
As the campaign entered its final month, the now infamous Access Hollywood tape surfaced.
Melania said this was okay.
2 days later, Clinton and Trump meet in their second debate.
After we heard him admitting and laughing about sexually assaulting women.
It's not sexual assault if somebody allows you to do something. He would say they let you do whatever you want. That means allow, grant permission. It does not mean that you go do something by force. That's that Bill Cosby stuff where you put somebody's drink and then do something to them without their permission. So don't say sexually assault when somebody allows you to do something. I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
And being able to get away with it, because if you're a star, you can do anything. So in my debate prep, we practiced this. The young man playing Trump would stalk me. And I practice keeping my composure. I practice not getting rattled. Well, it's one thing to practice it. It's another thing to be in front of, 50, 60, 70 million people and having him scowling and leering and moving up on me. And it was so discombobulating. Women.
But look, if you can't handle a debate, if you can't handle a guy walking around the stage, how are you going to be the president? You see what I'm saying? See, then you trying to play the whole, the female card. I'm a weak person. I'm a victim. This, that, and the third. How you going to be the president? Ain't no time for the sexism stuff when you're trying to negotiate deals with some of these rogue countries and you're trying to defend our nation. So you got to tighten up, be, a little bit stronger than that.
And so while I'm answering questions, my mind is going, okay, do I keep my composure? Do I act like a president?
What he said was extremely unwise.
Or do I wheel around and say, get out of my space, back up, you creep? Well, I didn't do the latter. But I think in this time we're in, particularly in this campaign, maybe I missed a few chances.
Is your political career over?
Yes. As an active politician, it's over.
You will never be a candidate for office?
I am done with being a candidate, but I am not done with politics because I literally believe that our country's future is at stake.
So she's still part of the resistance. We're going to talk about that earlier. Part of the resistance, trying to keep the right-wing nationalists and people like that, trying to keep them at bay. That's what that is.
You represent the best of America, and being your candidate has been one of the greatest honors of my life.
In the end, Hillary Rodham Clinton still seems gobsmacked by what happened. She dishes out blame, and she accepts responsibility. But while she's proud of her effort, she writes she was running a traditional presidential campaign.
Oh, really?
While Trump was running a reality show.
We have a reality show that leads to the election of a president. He ends up in the Oval Office. He says, boy, it's so much harder than I thought it would be. This is really tough. I had no idea. Well, yeah, because it's not a show. It's
triggered.
Real. It's reality for sure.
That was very interesting. I don't have too much more to add. I pretty much said what I had to say during the actual video. What I heard a lot in that was just a lot of excuses as to the reason why she lost. Not taking personal responsibility, trying to blame everything on Trump, trying to still keep up the air quotes resistance against him, trying to label him as a white nationalist, a sexist, a misogynist, a rapist, all kind of different obics in this. But at the end of the day, it doesn't even really matter because she's not in office. He is. He's going to be there for the next 4 to 8. So just, tighten up, get it together, buckle up, and be ready for the ride. What do you think about the actual interview? Do you think that pretty much what I said, a lot of excuses, a lot of finger pointing, want to blame Bernie Sanders, want to blame James Comey, want to blame Donald Trump, want to blame American citizens, want to blame everybody except for your own personal person, right? You don't want to talk about how you went to West Virginia and Ohio talking about, well, we're going to get rid of the coal jobs. We're going to kill coal in a place where coal is king. Okay, you don't want to talk about the email scandal with the Blackberries, beating the Blackberries up, having a server in your crib, all kind of people in the DNC that are corrupt, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, the stuff going on during the primary in Iowa, all kind of things that link to you being a corrupt person, a bad candidate. That is the reason why you lost. She actually won the popular vote. She could have won the whole election if she was a better candidate. I mean, Trump just happened to come in at the right place in the right time. Okay. And I think if it wasn't for Trump, then Hillary may have won, but Hillary did not do as well as she had to do. That's her fault. Nobody else's, but whatever your thoughts are, let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.